Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Dynasty Podcast with Borg, Betz, and a Baller.
Yo.
We're back. Another edition of Fantasy Footballers Dynasty Podcast. It's April 1st.
Kyle, you dog. Hitting him with the yo-yo-yo? Come on this show? You must be letting your hair down today.
It's me, Jason Moore.
Tell us about your Felix model.
Just kidding. It's not. Ha 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 ha.
April Fools.
Stupid. Oh my gosh.
Way to get Mike in a really, really quick. Like you had forgotten that that's what the day is. Yeah,
because we record a day early, and it's such a stupid thing.
Kyle loves it.
It's so stupid.
No.
No, there's no way. There's no way Kyle the Contrarian is loving April Fool's Day.
Yeah, but it had its moment, and then I feel like now, slowly, as you get older, the consensus is like, this is a dumb holiday. And so now Kyle is reverse pivoting. He's into it.
No, I'm my own man. I'm my own man, and Mike's known me long enough that, yes, I do put my foot down on certain things. And this is one of the things that Mike and I together have both been like, yeah.
Yes. The feet. It's not just off foot.
The
feet are down.
Both feet down.
Yes.
Yeah.
I stand on business.
I don't even think my kids care about this day. Like they don't bring it up that much.
I feel like in school they probably do. Don't you think?
You think so?
I don't know.
Did you guys do pranks on your friends?
I mean, isn't like the classic back in the day? Nobody's gonna understand this reference anymore. But you used to put like chalk in the eraser for the chalkboard, and then like when the teacher would go to like erase something, it would actually draw chalk on the chalkboard.
I know what you're talking about.
I mean, we understand that. People listening might, but
what
the youths,
a bit.
The youths. Oh, Mike, that'll
show
was a killer. You want to talk about looking cool in fourth grade? Right there, buddy.
Everyone's like, this guy's gonna win class clown. What he did in fourth grade, this is gonna be the thing when he gets to high school. And then was that it? Was that the peak?
That's about all I remember from April Fool's Day.
Okay,
look,
all right.
If you're into it, grow up. Stop it.
Count chocolate.
Get help.
Moving on.
Come on, get help. On this episode,
we are call someone Count Chocula.
Peter Pan. That is a reference from Wedding Crashers. I'm upset you didn't know that. Mike. Come on.
Man, I do not remember him calling.
I'll send you the clip.
Count Chocula.
I'll send you the clip.
Is it when when like Owen and oh gosh, now his name is just Vince. When like they're arguing,
yes,
and they're just going back and forth riffing. Okay, that's I haven't watched Wedding Crashers in quite some time.
Fantastic.
Is this a group project? A little group project.
Funny.
We come back later and talk about it.
I don't mind it. Don't mind it.
Okay. Well, cool.
Are you pulling the clip
Betz
up?
Betz is already pulling it out.
It's going in your microphone, man.
My bad. It's in
Mute
Slack.
your computer.
Go ahead and check it out.
Oh, Betz, that's one of the first things you do. Is mute the computer, man.
I forgot.
If you're here for another rookie mock draft at the beginning of April. And as we go pick by pick, I really want us to kind of weigh, I could see this player sliding to this pick, or this is the earliest I would take this player, just to give people a range of outcomes, because in your rookie drafts, things will change over, the next month, where you say to yourself, hey, I have the 105. I know who I'm taking at the 105. And then all of a sudden, things change. The NFL changes, the draft capital changes, and all of a sudden you are staring a wide receiver in the face. You're like, man, he's on the Dolphins. He's on the Browns. And I'm scared now. So,
yeah.
Those are the two teams that I've been looking at the most, of like, okay, if they go there, I'm always a talent over landing spot, but those two teams scare me.
Sometimes a landing spot is so catastrophically bad that you're like, ugh, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, like Isaiah Bond last year was like, oh, what's his landing spot? Oh, it's not drafted. That's the landing spot for that guy. I know it was like off the field stuff, but like, those are the range of outcomes.
Like, you know how I'll save this? I'll go to Cleveland. Yeah.
That'll change everything. I did see that he met with them a couple of times last year. Isaiah Bond had top 30 visits and local visits with like a bunch of teams last year. So he's a hot commodity. And then all of a sudden,
I did just see. I know we're wanting to talk rookies, but I just saw a report that I thought was very interesting. They were talking about the quarterbacks in Cleveland. I think it was talking about like Monken has talked to Watson a couple times. It's like so that he hasn't been around a ton, but they've talked a little bit. Shedeur has been there, like he's locked in. It's like, and Dillon Gabriel is not here. I'm like, it's like, dude, the Gabriel. I mean, I know he was, he wasn't like an early pick or anything. What round was
he?
Gabriel?
Was a third round pick.
Kyle, a third round pick for a quarterback is absolute nothingness.
I think it's egregious considering how they spent the rest of their capital in taking a quarterback later.
Yes.
To then have somebody that's basically feels like they're not on the roster. It feels egregious to me.
Does it? Dillon Gabriel. It feels like it's like it's over. His chance already came. He didn't maximize it. I mean, I don't know if there's anyone who could have come into that Cleveland situation last year and really succeeded. But it's like Dillon Gabriel it's over.
There's only one
team. It's already done.
One team he can play for from now on. Do you know who it is?
Who's that?
He's a left-handed quarterback, and there's a team stockpiling left-handed quarterbacks.
Okay.
So join us in Atlanta, man.
Hey, Stefanski. The connection's there.
That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It's the same.
It's going to happen. We need them all. We need to collect all the left-handed quarterbacks. So we'll go through a rookie mock draft.
We have 8 quarterbacks on our roster, Stefanski. What are we doing?
We're going to start trying out like local guys. If you're a lefty and you're in the city of Atlanta, you have a chance. You have a chance to just come in, start a few games. We'll see what happens. But all of our rookie rankings, you can find them in the Ultimate Draft Kit Plus. Our scouting reports for all.
Oh, they're hot.
All 55 players are now not just ranked, but we have full scouting reports for them. If you want those, those are available in the app as well. I do have a quick question for us because we're going to go through our rookie mock draft. And there's people out there saying, why don't you go 3 rounds? Why don't you go 4 rounds on a mock draft? You can find those in our rankings, and we give you those. But my question is, how do you guys handle your 3rd or 4th round picks in Dynasty? We've kind of discussed before a general strategy. We have in the Ballers Dynasty Tips, it's a section in the Dynasty Pass, like what we usually do. So I want to get y'all's takes, and then I'll give you guys some data of the hit rate because it's not great of players that made an impact. But Betz, like, what do you do personally with your later round picks?
For the most part, I'm not using them on like in the draft to move around because nobody wants a 3rd when you see the names that are available. But in a trade, depending on your league and depending on who you play with, sometimes there's a guy or gal that's like, you know what? Toss me an extra 3rd. Let's get this deal done. I'm like, great, let's do it. Please, let's do this. So I'm kind of using it as like I'll just give you a little extra. I'll give you a little extra to get this trade done.
You're talking like in season?
In season, off season, anytime.
Okay.
Anytime, Kyle. Because like you said, the hit rate is just so abysmal. Like there's a guy maybe that comes from this group once every couple of years. So for me, that's really, I'm using them as trade pieces whenever I can just to try to get a deal through. If I can't, and I do have them, I am kind of searching for team opportunity when we think about like a running back, even if they're a day 3 guy, it's like, hey, there's a path where I could see some snaps later in the season. Or if it's super flex, like stashing a quarterback, like last year, Jalen Milroe was kind of a popular guy here because it's like, oh, he could run. Maybe this is a spot that could work. But in general, we know the hit rate is so bad. I'm just trying to get rid of these picks in any way I can as part of trades, not around this 3rd round pick, but it's like, hey, this deal is close enough. Just give me an extra 3rd. Let's get the deal done. For me, please, let's do it every time.
Mike?
Yeah, I think that's that's the best way to use them is because the hit rate is not great. Finding if you're drafting a running back there, you're drafting like an insurance running back. You're not trying, you're like, this guy's, I think he's going to break through. Not impossible, as Kevin Garnett says, nothing's impossible. But it's like, it's not plausible. So when I've got my 3rds, I either trade them take those insurance running backs because that matters, man. In Dynasty, having no one has an overwhelming amount of starting running backs on a Dynasty squad. If you have two, you're actually doing pretty great. If you have two locked in for sure starters, three is like, whoa, like an embarrassment of riches. So you stack those guys up because they come in handy. You get a couple starts here and there when you really need it during the middle of the season. Or that's where I'm just looking at the draft capital, because every year there's always a wide receiver or two that goes in the third, sometimes even the second round, that no one wants. Now the hit rates on these, there's a reason people don't want them on your Dynasty roster, is because somehow everybody else can see what a bad pick it was, but the team that made the pick was just like, this is what we're doing. It's like Jalen Polk. It did not work, but at this point now, hindsight is like, what a catastrophic whiff. But he was a second round pick,
yes,
if I'm remembering right. It's like he was there in the third. Yes, I'm going to take a shot on it. Or for me, last year with the second to last pick in our third round, Isaac Tisla is there. And was it super weird that the Lions drafted him in the third? Yes. Was it even weirder that they traded 2 future thirds to go get him in the third? Yes. But if the team is so enamored with the player, that's where I'm taking the shot on those. I mean, these are like super flyers, but they still have the draft capital, which if you've played Dynasty long enough, draft capital is pretty much the biggest indicator of who is going to have a chance to actually make an impact on your Dynasty roster. So, I mean, that's how I take the approach.
Yeah, just to give you some data, over the last decade, here's the hit rate of wide receivers taking in round 3 of rookie drafts, giving you at least one top 36 season in their entire career. So all they got to do is just be top 36 once.
Wow.
It's below 17%. It's like you're just not going to be able to find it. So for instance, last year, that was like Jalen Royals, Tisla, names that like could get there. The running backs, though, I think you mentioned it, Betz. Like, I'm just trying to find anybody that like could be on a roster. So that was like, I took Dylan Sampson in our Dino Junior League. It's like, obviously he's going to be the backup to Judkins, but he catches the ball. Let's see what happens. DJ Giddens, Devin Neal, Ollie Gordon, Woody Marks, which, hey, for one season,
yeah,
that's about as good as you're going to get from some of these picks. Jarquez Hunter. Yeah, it's one of those things where you should not expect it. I will bring up tight end, though, as a position that has been fruitful if you wait, and you're kind of getting that next wave of players that end up falling because it's just not the sexiest pick. So last year, Harold Fannin was a player that went in the third round in both of our main Dynasty leagues. And that's just like, he was there, Mason Taylor was there, Terrence Ferguson, like all of these guys, I think you can take shots on players that end up being on day 2 tight ends. I think you're going to have that this year. Like, we might not talk about Max Klare. He'll probably be in the list, but like, he feels like a late round 2, round 3 player that's like, it could work out. So
I think it's a great example. Yeah.
I will give you some wide receivers, and I need to name them because we'll do some episodes. But this year, Ted Hurst, Skylar Bell, Antonio Williams are third round picks that I've been getting and kind of interested. Betz, I know that some of these guys may not really, do it for you, but any of those 3?
I mean, they all have a part of their profile where you can squint and see it. You have to squint pretty hard, I think, in my opinion. We have to remember, like, this time of year, everybody finds kind of their favorite, like, sleepers, and then, like, slowly they become the consensus in the Dynasty community sleepers. And then we all kind of get enamored, and then they fall to like the 3rd or 4th round in the NFL draft. And most of the time, not every time, but most of the time, the following year, we even kind of forget that they were the hotness this time of year. And it feels very likely that at least 2 of these guys, probably all 3, will be in that ballpark. I think there's a lot to like about Ted Hurst. His profile is pretty intriguing. That said, a D2 school to Georgia State or wherever it was, like, probably not going to work. But the size is there. The athletic testing is there. Antonio Williams, I think, is interesting in that, like, NFL evaluators seem to really value him. Maybe he's a day 2 pick, and then maybe we're having a different conversation. The problem is he's slot only, so that kind of changes things. I know you like Skylar Bell, so I'll let you kind of touch on him, but Yeah, these are all guys that I'd be willing to take a shot on in the third round.
I think we're in the process now of like going through our scouting reports, our production profiles, and it's like, okay, I kind of know what this player is. If Skylar Bell, who had a monster year this final year at UConn, and he tested really well, if he ends up sneaking into round 3, which is kind of where he's going, is like, in the late 80s, 90s in mock draft, like I'm paying attention to that player, and now that might move him up into being a round 2 player in rookie drafts. But these are the pool of players. I think my biggest point in going through this process for this year is because this is a weak draft class, of course the third and fourth round is going to be weak. It's like we're scratching and clawing once we get to like 202. So when we get to 308, it's like, of course there's nobody there. Any deeper names, Mike? I mean, I know Adam Randall, somebody you've talked about.
Yeah, I will say the it's like, middle of January we start going in, start learning all these names, start watching the film, then it's just like the ebbs and flows of looking into these guys. And so I'm on like wave 3 or 4, of going, okay, I'm going to go back, and because it's not a fresh eyes, but I already kind of have an opinion. Let me see what does my opinion still hold up? Because you should be testing and checking your opinions frequently. I am now in the wave of, oh man, I am like I was allowing the wide receiver position. Maybe we're not full of really, like, we're not chock full of a bunch of high end talent. We got the 3 guys at the top that we are pretty confident in, and then we're gonna have a lot of wide receiver 2 types. I am in the wave now of just all I see now are the red flags of these players once you get out of the first 6 or 7 wide receivers. And so now it's like someone crapped in my cereal, so I'm just kind of a curmudgeon about it, not feeling.
That's unfortunate.
Not feeling very good
Gross.
at all about this. I know, which that was a super sick reference for you, Betz, that I'm sure you have no idea where that came from.
No.
So as of right now, no, I'm curmudgeon-y, and I think everyone stinks.
They couldn't even put it on your front doorstep and light it on fire. They had to just put it straight in your cereal.
Yeah. Ask Ben Affleck about it.
Jeez, man, that's rough. Like, who are you hanging out with? It's really
The wrong crowd.
really some tough customers there. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll be right back. All right, we're going to get into a 2-round rookie mock draft. If you want to follow along on YouTube, you can watch it. Let's go.
The Fantasy Footballers Mock Draft.
This is going to be a 2-round mock draft. It will be Betz, Mike, and then myself, and we'll just kind of alternate back and forth. I think when we have certain picks, there will be some overlap of what we've done before. So I might even reference, here's what we did in the last mock about a month ago. I want to make sure, though, like, Mike, you were talking about things that you're bringing up that you're like, man, I don't know about this player. I had some thoughts today about Makai Lemon that...
Oh, hey.
Just bringing up doubts, fears. I have fears.
Kyle
hates good players.
When it comes to Makai Lemon,
he'll be too good in the NFL.
I'm a 90s t-shirt brand. Guess which one it is, Kyle?
I know. You don't have any fear.
None fear. Which is not the actual brand.
Do you really have no fear about him?
I think Makai Lemon is awesome.
What if his teammates hate him?
What if his teammates hate him? What? Don't go to his birthday party? What are we, draft day over here?
No, because bring
it up. What do we got?
He's a weird cat, but no. Mine's actually has nothing to do with personality.
Okay.
Mine is more of, man, you made every contested catch for a shorter guy on film. Is that repeatable year over year? Or maybe you're just that dude. For somebody below 6 feet, he made the catches he needed to make, and that doesn't always happen year to year.
Yeah, I do agree with that. It's just like the difference of archetype between Tate, Tyson, and Lemon the teams that are drafting, whoever drafts Lemon, they know that, and that's what they want. Like, Lemon will be a first-round pick, and whoever takes him, they know they're drafting a guy who's probably gonna be their slot guy. You know, it is tired. He's Amon-Ra St. Brown, but that's who he is. Like, I know it's all there's the overlap it seems too obvious. This one feels like it's too obvious because it is the truth, and I actually take the personality stuff of like, hey, this is a weird guy who he believes in himself. He has no fear about does he belong in the NFL, and if a team takes him in the first, I believe that they are like that's what they want. They want to have a true strong player, a true strong presence in the slot. You know, Detroit kind of ended up in it where Amon-Ra was fourth round, and obviously he exceeded their expectations by a wide margin. Of they passed on him multiple times, and then they were like, okay, we'll take you in the fourth. But the way that the NFL works now, I think that a player like Makai Lemon can really come in, and I think he's a phenomenal player.
The other thing too about the draft capital that he's going to get, I mean, NFL teams do stupid stuff all the time, so we're assuming rational things will happen, but you don't take a slot-only player, in my opinion, with like the 13th pick or wherever he's going to go, right? So if you just assume this GM and head coach have a vision for this player, if you want just a slot guy, you can get Antonio Williams in the third round. You know, you can get somebody later. I think if a team is going to invest a top 15, top 20 pick, which is kind of where he goes in mock drafts, I've even seen some buzz for kind of late, you know, top 10. If he is taken there, that team is not going to play him just in the slot.
Correct. Yeah, no, he'll kick outside on, you know, different sets, and it's kind of what Amon-Ra, who's actually been better outside. We've talked about yards per out run than just being a slot only guy. So I'm just bringing up my fears, you know, but apparently I'm not allowed to have any as a 90s kid.
You are.
Okay. Betz, you are going to go first, and you can tell us everything that's wrong about Jeremiyah Love.
He runs a little too upright. You know,
this is when you get the April Fools in.
I didn't see enough hip swivel on tape, so I'm going to take the better player out of Notre Dame, Malachi Fields, at the first pick. Obviously, it's Jeremiyah Love. I think we can keep the conversation short and move on to the 102.
He's good.
All right.
He is very good.
All right, Mike, you are the one that gets to make the decision between these three wide receivers.
So I still have Tyson as my preferred of the big three. Don't love the injury history. Like it should be enough that if you're a GM, you really got to check into it. But you know, 6'2", 203, very athletic. You're watching his tape at Arizona State. Just he has some of those. Not that he's Keenan Allen, but like Keenan Allen is just the first name that comes to mind of you. Like you see, you've seen the routes where off the line the defender is just like so duped and so out of the play. I feel like that happens a lot for Tyson, and it's like, so I like that get off. And he's my preferred of the three guys.
I think we are all in lockstep about we would take Tyson first. I think, in my opinion, he won't go first in the NFL draft. I think it will be Tate.
You think it'll be Tate?
I think Tate is a sneaky pick at 4 for the Titans. I think it's going to be Love, but I think Tate is on the board, and he did meet with him. The Giants, Browns, they're all in play for Tate to be in those picks right there. So I think he'll go first. And then Tyson, I mean, it could go anywhere. He could go to the Browns. He could go to the Dolphins. And I've seen him drop even further. So I don't know, Betz, do you feel like you're looking at the draft markets? Like, I feel like there's a wider range than we want for a player that we like the analytical profile on.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we're on a little bit of an island in that we all love Jordyn Tyson for fantasy as our top wide receiver. If I was a real-life NFL GM and I was choosing the top wide receiver in this class, I think I would take Carnell Tate, which I think the NFL will do. And I think a lot of fantasy players, dynasty players, are going to follow suit and say, hey, Tate went in the top 6, 7, 8 picks, whatever it's going to be, he's obviously wide receiver 1 in this class. And while I do see a world where that happens, I still, like Mike, kind of just believe in Jordan Tyson's ability to translate from a fantasy football perspective, because he can do everything in the slot, out wide, gets targets at all 3 levels of the field. Just a really good player. If the injury history stuff wasn't a factor, which it is, so we can't just say it's not, but if it wasn't, I feel like he would kind of be a slam dunk wide receiver 1 in this class, in my opinion. And I hope he's supposed to work out for teams. I think it's April 17th. He's going to do like a private workout, positional drills only.
Yeah, I heard about it.
Hopefully the good Lord above blesses this man's hamstrings for the next 2 weeks so he can get through this. Because I think if he can show NFL teams, hey, I am healthy, don't worry about it, maybe that kind of love from the NFL will come back. But as things stand, it does look like he will probably be the 3rd of the big 3 off the board in the real life NFL draft. Of course, we have a month to go, so things could change. But hopefully that workout goes okay in 2 weeks.
Do we have any information about this, where it's occurring? Just
the workout?
Yeah, just I've got a lot invested in the 102 in my rookie drafts.
I'll see if I can get you the address, Kyle.
For real though, it's a big deal. Tate Lemon is a tough conversation at 103. I like Tate as a real life NFL football player. I think he has the dog. He's an awesome blocker. He did everything asked of him, and yet we're looking at his production profile and be like, I wish there was more. And we kind of
want targets.
Yeah, he would have the lowest targets per outrun number of any player taken in the top 10. So over the last decade. So that bothers me as somebody who looks at targets per outrun pretty much every day of their life. So today I'm going to go with Lemon. And tomorrow I might have a different opinion.
I thought you were scared.
I am scared. And I'm picking it because I'm scared and because today targets per outrun matters to me.
You're facing your fear?
Yeah.
I think we convinced him, Mike.
You're looking the lion in the face?
I would still take Tyson ahead of Lemon.
The lemon in the face?
I'm looking him right in the face. Betz, you were at the 104.
Yeah, in 1 QB leagues, I think, even in Superflex, I think if you have the 4th pick, you're kind of on autopilot. You just kind of take whoever's left in most of the time, and that's what I'll do here. And I will take Carnell Tate.
You get the leftover, but it's not.
And I'm still happy with this pick, by the way. It's not like it's a bad consolation prize, air quotes.
That's wild. I mean, people are going to look at this mock. Carnell Tate at the 104. You guys are so dumb. All right, so I'm back. I'm on the clock here.
You are.
Yes, sir.
So, Kenyon Sadiq is a difficult evaluation as he's as the youth would say, he is an absolute unit, and the athleticism is unbelievable, which we want to chase that for fantasy football. But the production was not what you would like. He was not a dominator at Oregon the way that we want to see him when you compare him to guys in the NFL who are truly dominant. And I have, not that I was low on KC, but I have in this particular wave, I have moved him up in my opinion of him. So I think that Concepcion is quite an easy pick here at the 105.
Okay. It's another thing that we all are in agreement that we like Concepcion a lot, and yet he's been falling in mock drafts to the point of he's a fringe first-round, second-round pick. If he was going...
They need to stop that. The mock drafters, you need to stop it.
Because right now...
Stop it.
Right now, we'll talk about Omar Cooper Jr., but he is now the 4th wide receiver for a mock draft database. Then it's Denzel Boston. Then it's Casey Concepcion. So he's fallen all the way to the wide receiver 6. And draft order is not the same for fantasy order. My biggest thing for Concepcion is there's something in his profile that says this isn't going to be a slot-only player. If he wins outside, he's going to be in the, I hate using this name, but like the Odell Beckham, Emmanuel Sanders, you're smaller for an outside wide receiver, but you can get open at will. That's the group that I think he can be in. I don't want to use Antonio Brown. That's a different stratosphere. But like, that player intrigues me. That player is more than just a gadget. And that's how a lot of people are kind of profiling him, is like, oh, he's a screens only guy. get him on the move. That's all he can do. I feel like there's more there. And Betz, are you right there, 105? This is where you take him?
Yeah, when we did our mock with Jason a couple weeks ago, this is where I had the 5th pick and I took him here. I think there's so much to like. And yes, he was more gadgety early on at NC State. But the thing that I love about him is like you saw him evolve as an future NFL receiver kind of year over year. And like at Texas A&M this past year, he was winning on the outside. So yes, early on in his career, he was a gadgety, manufactured touches slot player. Now he's winning on the perimeter. It's like you have this just array of different ways you can use him in the NFL. I feel like sometimes we kind of nitpick that a little bit, but it's also just a sign of like this guy is talented because everywhere he's been, no matter what level of play it is, what school it's been, the coach has said we are getting the ball in this guy's hands. That's just a sign of talent. And so the fact that he did win on the outside in the SEC and also electric in the return game, I'm super excited about KC.
At North Carolina, his rookie year, did you guys know he had the second most rushing yards on the team?
He has some wild production. I mean, that's as like
number
an
one on that team would have been Brennan Armstrong, the quarterback. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's completely the checkbox for Concepcion or not just a full indictment of the running back room for the 2023 North Carolina Wolfpack, but it should be paid attention to. Like the coach looked at the roster and went, I need you to touch the ball a lot.
Yeah. I'm at 106, and Mike, you mentioned Kenyon Sadiq. I was going through this exercise and just thinking, where did we take Bowers? Where did we take Warren, Loveland, all these other guys? And it was pretty much like after this, which is wow. Now that's a different context of a different draft, a different pool of players. We would say this is a pretty weak draft once we get to the middle to late first round. But I was just like, man, I wanted to spend the 106 on Bowers. The 106 on Sadiq does not feel as sexy.
No, he's not as good as those guys. It is a projection with his stature and abilities. He could he could ascend into the stratosphere and be like the tight end 1 in Dynasty. That over the next couple of years he could do that, but I don't believe that he will.
Tight end 1. When I was talking to Jason, I was like, Jason, what if I just want to hit a double? He's like, do you want to hit a double with your 105, 106? At the end of the day, I don't know what else is available here at these picks where I feel confident about the floor of the pick. Going back to, if you were a first-round tight end in the NFL draft, the only ones with a worse dominator rating than Kenyon Sadiq is O.J. Howard and Hayden Hurst. Everybody else was just way better. It's like, this is tough. Love the player. I would love for him to be on my NFL team. I'm going to take him here at 106. I think the floor is high, but I'm worried about the ceiling.
Yeah, this is the part where I don't think you personally can feel great about the floor of any of these guys. Like the floor is kind of just gone at this point in rookie drafts. It's a tough spot. So after you went Sadiq at the 107, I'm going to kind of follow projected draft capital. Like you mentioned, Omar Cooper Jr. is flying up draft boards. NFL seems to be very into him. I don't think he's a perfect prospect by any means, but I do feel like his game kind of fits in today's NFL is how I'd put it. So I don't think he's necessarily the most exciting rookie pick we've seen at the 107 in recent years, but in a class where we're kind of looking for hits here, I think he'll get that first round draft capital. And if you just, again, blindly bet on draft capital in Dynasty, more often than not, that will work. So I will take a potential first round NFL wide receiver.
I've gone back and forth with him. We did a full episode. We talked about the Indiana wide receivers. Mike and I were even talking about Cooper yesterday of like, how much is this is screens? And then we were doing the research of, it was 27% of his targets, 28% of his routes. And then I went back to Debo, because that's the comp that people always give. And Debo was almost the exact same number when he was at South Carolina. These kind of manufactured touches, let them have a bunch of yak stuff. I don't think he's Debo. Nobody's Debo.
No one's Debo.
But if he ends up in the first round, which kind of feels like where he's going, I guess I would feel pretty happy about getting a first round wide receiver at 107.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think he's a solid pick here. I'm not like thinking I hit out of the park, but I think it's a solid pick at this point in the draft.
Yeah, that's That's exactly what I told myself when I pushed click on Jalen Reagor.
Man,
like, I can't believe I'm getting a first-round wide receiver at this point in the draft.
Yeah, like when I took N'Keal Harry at 102.
Last year with Matthew Golden, the only thing we really kept saying was like, well, he's a first-round wide receiver.
Yes.
But we kept taking him, for context, he was like, at this point in this exercise last year, he was like the 12th pick or like the 201. So at least with Omar Cooper, I feel like there are some like target earning abilities, played alongside another guy who's going to get drafted in Elijah Sarratt. Has the dog. But there's concerns too. So don't get me wrong. It's not a perfect science.
All right. Mike at the 108.
So like I said, this is where things fall apart really, really fast for me here. We don't know where he will go. I'm open to Stowers here. Like,
okay,
Stowers. Stowers. Thank you. I wanted to stow my boat. I am very open to him at this point of the draft. I'm not going to do it because there's the wide receiver is Denzel Boston, who he is a very weird prospect for me because he is not the archetype of player that I generally like. It's like, and we're here again with Lemon of like, hey, Boston is Rome, it's like we're playing some bully ball. If all you can do is be a bully in college, when the bully goes to the pros and you're in the 0.01%, all of a sudden you are no longer the bully in that, unless you are the top of the athlete and the wide receiver. So he feels to me a lot like when we gave the advice of Leggett, Xavier Leggett from a couple years ago of like, I really don't think this is going to work. Like, I don't think Boston is going to work, but I'm going to draft him because every once in a while you run into a prospect when you're watching it. And it's just like, I'm going to break all my rules right here. Hey, rules are made to be broken, right, guys? Hey, let's party. So I'm going to take Boston here. His draft capital buzz is strong enough that like he still might end up in the first, right, Kyle? Or is that what we're seeing?
He's currently like right there on the fringe in the 30s.
The athletic testing is pretty from him, and I honestly, that's not usually the type of player that I go for, but it might work for us.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take Boston here.
He feels like a player that ends up being taken by the Bills, and we're like, okay, well, it's the Bills.
Yes.
And
Josh Allen.
Yes.
Because Coleman.
He goes in the later first to a good team. And so we just convince ourselves that he's going to take over and be the one for that team.
That is the conundrum of the NFL.
Said all that, I like Denzel Boston.
Okay, I wanted to hear that.
This is what I know. I'm doing a lot of qualifying here, but I'm saying I liked him when I watched the tape. I liked him more than I should.
Betz
and I shared the same exact sentiment. Like the first go around, I was like,
really?
Well, it's like we've seen this before. Like. Bigger bully type guy.
Yep.
Like his calling card is like contested catches in the red zone. It's like, okay, this works in college. This usually doesn't work in the pros. But then after like 3 weeks, I kind of let it sit and kind of had my preconceived notion. I went back and watched him again, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I wasn't giving him like a fair shot the first time around because they did some stuff to it. They moved him in the slot a little bit. Good feel for zone. I think pretty good after the catch for a bigger guy. Like I could see a path where it works. I still think if you're making me pick yes, no, this works or doesn't, I think probably not, but I am more open to it and I can see it now versus like 2 months ago. I was like, this is definitely not going to work, which is not how you should think. But my initial reaction was like, I don't think it's going to. Now I can see a path for sure. So I don't mind this pick at all.
I get the vision because what he can be is not just a, jump ball guy. And there was another player coming out of college that kind of morphed into a do-it-all slot wide receiver, and we all love him.
We built this city.
Oh, baby.
He could be a little bit of Pity City if he wants to. He's much more diverse. Boston.
I will throw in Boston's production profile is strong.
It is.
So, he's just under our reception percent threshold by 2%. He's 1% under our yardage threshold that we really want to see. But when it comes to dominator, because this was a touchdown, just an absolute boss, he had it. So the production profile is there. The draft capital will be there. It's not my favorite archetype, but this particular guy I do like.
All right, I'm going to take at the 109. I'm just going to call it whoever is the RB2 in this class. Because that's what it feels like.
But you have to guess who it is.
I knew who it was going to be. It's going to be Jadarian Price. He's going to be taken second. And yes, I can poke holes in a lot of the stuff. We brought it up many times. He has, 16 total receptions in college. I wonder if this is a Kenneth Walker situation where I think he can catch. I think he's really good in the open field. Number 1 in the class in yards after contact per attempt. And I think he can thread the needle. I'm not saying he's a perfect prospect.
I would disagree. And because I can point to Jeremiah Love's reception production. Like Kenneth Walker was, the team doesn't do it. Not the player. The team does not do it. Notre Dame, the team, they did. As Jeremiah Love last year accounted for 12% of the receptions.
I think he has the skills and that he was used as a kick returner, do-it-all running back that wasn't really profiled that way. I think he can catch. I'm not saying he's elite, but in the same way, like you can get 25 receptions from certain players that profiles early down guys. Like J.K. Dobbins was a good pass catcher coming out of college. He's never been a great pass catcher in the NFL, but he can get you 20 to 25 receptions in a season and be an early down guy that gets huge chunk gains and kind of be an outlier that way. So I'm going to take Price. I think he's the second running back. If I'm playing fantasy, I want Emmett Johnson or Jonah Coleman to be the second running back. I just don't think they will be.
Are you guys buying any of the late first for Jadarian Price buzz that a couple mocks have thrown out there? I cannot see it.
No.
I mean, it makes sense because Seattle's there and they need a running back, so people are like, oh, Jadarian Price.
Whoa. Tell that to the George Halani hive.
Somebody the other day came out
of
the
Emmanuel Wilson hive.
No. Halani. I am telling you the amount of the groundswell of the online social medias of people starting to talk about him. Like my Twitter, the YouTube comments. This is like
I saw a couple of those too.
Huh?
Where do those people meet each week?
I don't know, but they are they have their champion, and his name is George.
They watch highlights while eating a stack of flapjacks. All right, the 110.
I don't even know what that means.
I said Denny's.
Kyle said they go to Denny's for their meetings. So they're eating pancakes, watching the highlights.
The kids are saying that, Mike.
Flapjacks?
All the kids, Mike. You're so old, Mike. Come on. All right.
The youths are not calling them flapjacks.
We don't call them down.
Whatever they're called,
here.
They're eating them at Denny's and they're watching the highlights. I'm gonna take Jonah Coleman at the 10th pick.
Yeah,
man. If he goes in a day 3, I'm gonna be terrified. But let's think on this a little bit. What if he goes on day 2? He has the production that we're looking for. He has the pass catching ability. I like him. I don't love him like Jason loves him, but I like him enough to take him at the back of the first.
I love Jonah Coleman. Like he's my Scattaboo of this year. I will continue to have my chips in on Jonah Coleman until the NFL tells me, like, with a firm red rubber stamp that they don't like him. And this year I'm gonna try my best because when the draft capital of a day 3 comes in, it's really hard to stand your ground on your take of if you weren't with the show last year, this is what I said about Scattaboo is he's my running back 2. I can't remember if he was 2 or 3. It was like, I'm going to leave him here until the NFL draft says otherwise. And then the NFL draft said otherwise, that he is not someone that the teams desire. And then lo and behold, on a not great New York Giants team, look who was a good running back. Jonah Coleman is good. He is a well-rounded dude. He has it. He has everything that we want for fantasy football. A true 3-down skill set should he land in a place that will give him the opportunity to do that. Or a place where there's the competition in front of him, Like he might go later than we want. He probably will. But if there are places he can land where the competition in front of him will be very vulnerable, I think, to Jonah Coleman taking over throughout the year.
We'll see. He could go 2-0. Well, we'll always prop him up because of production. And so he'll probably hang around early second round, even if he ends up being a day 3 pick. Like, that's still what's going to happen because there's so few running backs. But somewhere in this range, 109 to 205 is going to be where he ends up. Mike, you're at 111.
All right. I bypassed him. Yeah, people might think it's wild, but I'm going to take Stowers here. I think that with his let me pull it up. With his particular production profile, the 2 years at Vanderbilt, the second year we didn't get the dominator rating that we really want, but he did hit it in his second year, the first year after he transferred. The athletic testing is, it is truly elite. His 4.51 at 6'4" and 239 pounds puts him in the 96th percentile, 93rd percentile for speed score. His explosiveness is literally the 100th percentile. This is who I want. That's the build that I want to bet on. And it's like where Sadiq will go. I think Sadiq will go pretty early in the NFL draft in the first round, probably in the first 15 picks or so. Stowers might go a little bit later, but he might end up on a better team because of that. And I think he has a extremely interesting, the path that he has taken, the player that he has become. It might take him a year, and we will say this again about. I know the recent history of tight ends, as in like the last couple years, is they're coming in and just really, really making noise immediately. That's not going to be the case for every tight end that you draft in a rookie draft. It now feels safe to take a rookie in your first round of your rookie drafts. Because of what has happened. I'm not at the point where I'm going to say it is super safe to still do that in terms of getting immediate true production out of that player. They might have to sit on your bench for a little bit. But I think overall, especially compared to these other players that we're going to start talking about, someone who can really rise and make a big impact on your team, I'm going to go with Eli over these remaining wide receivers and running backs.
I get it. Right now in mock drafts, he's going pick 55. I mean, I had to throw that in there. And then on the main show, he's one of the tight ends that you guys are going to get to preview on Thursday. Cool story. There's a lot more to Eli Stowers. Betz and I profiled him if you want the full kind of story about tight end prospects. I'm going to finish out the first round. I'm going to take
I wish
Mendoza.
He had a little more dog. Wish he had a little more.
You know why he doesn't have dog? The same amount.
Why is that?
He's pretty new to tight end. He came into college as a quarterback. So He's like, the blocking part, he's not a blocker. Let's just put it that way. He is a tight end. I'm using air quotes because he's still learning the
I always
position.
fall for these move tight ends.
Yeah, me too.
They're sexy. They're fun.
But to your point, though, on that, like, came in, recruited as a dual threat quarterback, which speaks to athleticism. Then you saw him not just throughout his college career put on a ton of weight, also stay highly athletic at this new weight, this new build, this new body.
Right.
It's like, okay, yes, I would not be surprised if we look back at the end of the season, we're having a conversation next year. It's like, remember Eli Stowers? He didn't really get on the field very much as a rookie. He kind of flashed a game or two here or there. I would not be surprised by that at all. But I do believe, like Mike said, that he has the ability as a pass-catching tight end, if he can start to put it all together over the course of the first, 2-ish years of his career. So if he doesn't do anything in year one, I would not be so out on this guy moving forward. I think it might take a little bit of time, but I believe in Stowers as well.
I'm going to finish out by taking Mendoza in a super flex. I would take him around 104, 105, probably 105. I'm going to pick those wide receivers first, but there's a certain point in your draft at the end of the first where I feel comfortable, even in a one quarterback league. It's not sexy, guys, to take a quarterback in a one quarterback league, but I did
but it is at this point of drafts. I mean, really in general, this is where you want to take some shots at those types of players.
Yep. All right, let's take a quick break and then we'll move on to the second round. All right, I'm going to recap really quickly the first round of our draft. It went Jeremiyah Love, Jordyn Tyson, Makai Lemon, Carnell Tate, Casey Concepcion, Kenyon Sadiq at the 106, Omar Cooper Jr. at 107, Denzel Boston 108, Jadarian Price at 109, Jonah Coleman, Eli Stowers, and Fernando Mendoza to round out the first round. Betz, you were at the 201.
I think the consensus take, especially after the combine, is Mike Washington Jr. is kind of the next running back off the board. I'm going to take Emmett Johnson, however. In the game we play, give me the guy that has shown the ability to be an elite pass catcher, which I'm not sure it's going to translate for sure to the NFL, but Emmett Johnson has shown that. Let's hope he kind of sneaks into day 2, and if not, early day 3. But I will take Emmett Johnson here at the 201.
I love Emmett. I hope he's taken on day 2. I'm just so scared it's not going to be.
Just believe, brother. Just believe.
Okay. Good things. Mike, 202.
Oh, okay. This one, this is where the rankings really start to diverge from the mock draft database. Like the running back pick here, I think, based on mock drafts, would be Mike Washington. We highlighted him a bit on the main fantasy footballers. I'll just give it the recap is the combine really, really juiced up his stock because it was. I mean, those are truly remarkable numbers that Mike Washington was able to put up at his size and weight of how fast he is. His production profile is lacking in, we want players who can force missed tackles. He wasn't particularly great at those things. He's the one with the fumbling problem, right? As well,
12 career fumbles. It's pretty much the worst in class.
Like, if the combine had not gone so well, Mike Washington would not be anywhere close to the discussion at this point. And the running backs are, man, it's like this is like, the Penn State guys are right here. I'm not really dialed in of where I believe that they're going to end up going in the draft. So I think it might be a little bit of a reach here, but I'm going to take Chris Bell here out of Louisville.
Oh,
I don't mind it. He was going to be in consideration for my pick. We still have to figure out the injury stuff and where that goes.
But that's why it's tough of like he's not Jameson Williams. So I'm not making the player comparison. It's just the situation of, Jameson Williams went in is there still any first round buzz for Bell? Or is
I think it's gone.
That's gone? Okay. But it's like Jameson Williams, he was. And it's gone.
Matter of fact, it's gone.
JMO still went in the first round, knowing that he's not going to be probably available for the beginning part of the year, and it took a long time. Like ACLs it's still a huge injury. Guys are coming back easier and easier. It feels like it's still a gigantic injury that you don't want to have a player. It's really unfortunate for it to happen right before they're going to get their shot going into the NFL draft. But I love the production profile. You might have to wait on him though. And I'm not just talking, halfway through the year, whoever takes him in the second or third round, he's going to jump in and he'll be right acclimated. No, that's not how it works. You might have to wait until year 2 for Chris Bell to even know if you have anything. So that's why it's a bit of a reach here. But I do believe I believe in the player, and I love the analytical profile of him. And 6'2", over 220. I mean, that's what we want to see.
That's a unit, as the kids say.
Yes, absolute unit.
I would never be called that, by the way. Like, I could be like, oh, you're good at this thing, you're good at this athletic feat, but not a unit. That's not me.
No, I get it. Like unit brow, perhaps.
You're not wrong. My Italian heritage says that it's there. It's there sometimes. I'm gonna come out of left field here for my pick at 203 because I don't really like Mike Washington. That's not my style. The combine guy. I have heard
the rocket
nothing.
Ship riser.
By the way, I've heard nothing about Kaytron Allen over the last month and a half. Betz?
Not nothing. A thing. He's Singleton because of the foot, but Allen's not really doing any workouts either, so it's just
problem?
kind of radio silence. What's that?
Okay. It's a fat man problem?
I don't know what it is, but both these guys are going on day 3. So,
but that's what I mean of Allen right now in my rankings is he would have been ranked higher than Chris Bell, who I just took. But I feel like I liked Kaytron Allen more than Singleton. But they both could just be they could vanish immediately after the NFL draft.
I'm going to take a wide receiver that I'm pretty sure is going to be drafted in round 2, maybe round 3. But he feels like a firm day 2 pick. He's been rising up boards. Little razzle-dazzle, Chris Brazzell, who
boy,
is not just a deep threat, okay? Don't just label him as a Tennessee wide receiver like all the other ones.
Yeah. Please,
totally, dude.
Go back to my Denzel Boston argument and just play that here.
There you go. Chris Brazzell actually works really well in the SEC against zone coverage. And Mike is just nodding his head like I'm just saying nonsense. But I think Chris Brazzell is going to end up in round 2. And therefore, he's in this.
I think there's more than the Tennessee stuff. Yeah,
there you go, Betz.
This is weird to say, but like at Tulane, I saw a more complete player. I don't know if it's scheme related or what, but like I think he can do more than what he did at Tennessee. So I see major issues with this player, but also I can kind of see how it works, kind of like Denzel Boston. So I don't hate this pick. But at the 204, Mike, you guys let one of the most athletic running backs we've ever seen at the combine fall to me here.
Betz is going for the clicks.
What a value at 204. Give me Mike Washington, who is just the size speed freak of this year's class.
Yeah.
Will it work? I have no idea. But at the 204, I'm willing to find out.
The case for Mike Washington like writes itself. You just did it. You did
it really does.
Yeah. All right, Mike.
All right. I'll go back to my rankings on this one. I'll take Kaytron Allen here.
He's a fat man.
Yeah. Age. Well, he's already 23.
I already took him, so you can't take it back.
Okay. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, so maybe that's the bigger discussion. If you're in the middle of the second round, we're waiting for draft capital to tell us about these running backs. I think Nick Singleton is a more talented runner, better pass catcher, and yet I don't know what the NFL thinks about these guys. Kaytron might just end up being a guy on day 3, and none of these running backs matter. So then, if you knew, Mike, that a couple more wide receivers end up in the 3rd round, are you taking them over Kaytron Allen here? Like if you knew,
are you saying Kaytron's in a day 3 pick?
Yeah, if you knew he was a day 3 pick, you obviously probably
then
not taking him.
Then I will pivot and I will go to the draft capital and I'll try and figure out which of these wide receivers that I don't care for that I can stomach drafting.
None of these wide receivers in this range, I feel like, has separated themselves. I would say Jeremy Bernard, aka Germie, as Jason calls him. Yeah, he's been a while.
Sounds like a Sesame Street character,
and that's where Jason went. But 206, I think his skill set can translate inside outside. He has the versatility, lots of holes you can poke in his profile as well. But this is kind of where we're at in the second round in a really weak draft class. So Betz 207.
Yeah, the NFL seems to like Germie. Like people are kind of giving him mocks in like the top 60 picks. So if that happens, obviously it still might not work, but you have to at least open your mind to it. All right, I guess at this point I'll just play Homer and take Singleton. He's so tough because there was like so much promise with these guys last year, and then the whole team was terrible, and everything kind of the shine is worn off. But I just keep going back to like bigger back can catch the football. In our game that we play, sometimes that works. So hopefully the NFL likes him. I'll take him here at the 207.
I want him to be a thing.
Man. Oh, man.
Get nasty.
I would like to trade my 208 for a future first.
Done.
I don't care what year. 2030. Get me out
Consider
of this
it
pick.
done.
Okay, so if I actually had to make a pick here, goodness gracious. Give me a heat check here on the mock draft database of Malachi Fields.
It's gone lower recently.
Day two.
He's at 69 right now.
Once upon a time, late first round pick Malachi Fields. We are no longer there. We have moved from second round to day 2 pick.
He'll be day 2.
Oh my!
He might not be round 2, but he'll be day 2.
Betz, we've talked about this. Day 2 means you're picked in the 3rd round.
Second round.
It just sounds so much better.
No one picked in the 2nd round refers to themselves as a day 2 pick. They call themselves a 2nd round pick.
That's true.
And instead, like, hey, somehow the 3rd round, because the NFL, how they want to present the draft for media consumption, we're like, day 2. The 3rd round, it's on the 2nd day. It must be really good.
Oh, I will use that every day of my life to argue all the time.
I would too.
So wait, did you take Malachi Fields?
I mean, I suppose he's my preferred guys out of everybody else who's left. He's 6'5", right?
It could work.
6'5", 6'5", almost 220.
6'5", but he plays like he's 5'5" sometimes.
Yeah. We are now into the area of these players where, like, not only are they, real gadgety players, but it's the screens. Everything is close to the line of scrimmage, and we know historically that's great for you as an NCAA player. That when you go into the NFL, you need to be a big boy and be able to run big boy NFL routes, and you need to be able to take over at not just the line of scrimmage. You got to be able to win in the intermediate area of the field. For us, for fantasy football, teams will still take these guys who can get them a couple yards with their RPOs and things like that, but it doesn't. It rarely works. But I'll take Malachi Fields here.
He's tough because when you look at his routes, I have the number in front of me. He ran a post, a go, a corner 44% of the time. The only wide receivers to kind of see in that range that like are similar size would be like Darius Slayton or Huge. So that's what you're like, could he maybe be Darius Slayton is like the best outcome for Malachi Fields. And then you're like,
all right, take Huge too. I mean, like at least those 3 routes, those are fantasy points. That's
volatile.
It's not the cheap. Yes. Oh yeah. But it's not the cheap PPR scam points. You're actually, if you hit on a week, you're gonna really hit.
Yeah. I still looking at these wide receivers here. Elijah Sarratt is a name that had the crazy production in Indiana. If you're like a dominator rating, first downs per route run guy, then he's like going to be a steal at this point. His draft stock has done the opposite of Omar Cooper. Have you noticed that, Betz? Like on the draft boards, it's like same team, just won the national championship, and it's like Cooper's in the 20s, and I'm seeing Sarratt now at 75 on mock draft database. So
could be day 2.
That could definitely be day 2. That's not, man, now you're really convincing me. I'm going to take Sarratt and just hope that somebody sees him as like an every down outside wide receiver because he's been good wherever he's played in college, but the testing, everything else, it's not going to.
I like that. If he's good, then Elijah Sarratt is right there for us on the fantasy footballers.
Please work. We need this guy to work.
I mean, that's spicy.
Come on, Elijah. You mentioned the screen guys, the guys that deep down like this isn't going to work, but what if it works for us?
Mm-hmm.
I'll take Zachariah Branch. He is getting a lot of
how much do you hate yourself right now?
I loathe this pick. He is getting a lot of round 2 buzz, not day 2, round 2 buzz. Look, this dude caught 81 balls last year. Yes, they were all at the line of scrimmage.
They were handoffs.
That's a Georgia record, by the way.
That's what I'm saying. That is wild to me that is a factual statement, but it is. And so, look, it's like, these guys often don't work. He will be very scheme dependent. He probably will be a slot-only player in the NFL, so the odds of this working are not great. But we've already talked about, at this point in the draft, there are so many issues with all these guys. I think it's fine to throw a dart with Branch here.
Sick. Adam Randall.
That's fine.
I will take him here at the back of the 2nd round. Like if Adam Randall ends up with the same draft capital as the Penn State guys, then screw those guys. I'm gonna follow my heart, and I'm gonna follow the upside of if Adam Randall learns how to play running back, which he could probably. I think he can figure it out, right? Is
big back and catch the football?
Oh, he's gigantic. He's gigantic. You put him at the goal
Gibson
line.
Worked for a short period of time.
That's right. Thank you,
Tracy's
Betz.
worked for a short period of time.
They tried to besmirch you on the podcast multiple times that Antonio Gibson was not. He was a great pick for being a third rounder.
I get besmirched on the social media
leagues,
as well.
Going into a season, he was like the 15th overall pick at one point in redraft leagues. That's an amazing pick for your dynasty roster.
We will stand for this, Mike.
Thank you.
Gibson. Let's go to Denny's. Let's watch his highlights. We'll eat flapjacks together.
No, because if we go to Denny's, that's where the George people are.
Oh, I forgot.
We got to go to IHOP or something.
The George Halani people.
You're like, if my 211 can turn into 2 RB1 seasons, that is a sensational pick.
Unbelievable pick.
If he disappears after that, it doesn't matter.
That's correct.
You got 2
because
years.
you're going to cash in after the first year as a rookie. You're
no
flip
way
him for a first.
Way. I will never. I hold the bag.
I'm going down.
When
with
you
shit.
hit on a player like that, Betz, come on. When you hit on a player like that, your entire personality is now tied to that player.
That's a fair point.
He almost led his team to a Super Bowl this year, guys. Come on. Don't worry that he was out early in the year, but come on. All right, I'm going to finish the draft. I'm going to take Max Klare here. I think he has the goods to be more than just no.
Dude, you got to watch Purdue, Mike.
Purdue.
Okay.
Tape.
Okay. That's what I got to go do?
He was the offense that year before transferring to Ohio State, where obviously there's many guys in the offense. So I don't really look at him and say he could have stayed at Purdue, had the same production, and we would be like, that guy's awesome. Instead, he went to Ohio State, wanted to try to win a national championship. I get why his production is not the same. I can tell you that story on the podcast.
I'm not talking production. I'm just saying and to be fair to the Mike Wright doggometer for the tight end position for the prospects, it's one player. It's Michael Trigg. Like, because Sadiq, nope.
Not at his pro day, dude. Michael Trigg did not look like he wanted to.
Kyle, he was hurt.
He looked like he wanted to take a nap.
Yeah, he had a 21-inch vertical.
He had a hamstring issue.
I don't know what the number was.
With like the sideways hat.
It was so bad.
He had a hamstring issue, which the video of him jumping, that's what spread like wildfire, and the report of him being injured that day, that did not make it out.
It did not. Okay, be honest. When you saw the video and the story,
the jump,
it looked like somebody who's not played football before.
It looked like I could beat his vertical. Yeah. That's what it felt like. It was a bad jump. But I'm not talking about...
What was it, 21?
I made that number up. I don't know what it was.
Okay, we'll look it up later.
It was a very poor showing in terms of a vertical leap. But I'm talking about actual tape. I'm talking about dudes who are dogs and they seek out contact. There's a player, there's a defender running up on them, and they want to punish them. They don't want to, I'm not going to, I'm going to juke you and make a move. No, Michael Trigg is like, oh, you're going to stand in front of me? I am going through your face. That's how he plays. And none of the other guys play like that.
Michael Trigg is going to be one of those players we either mention as like legendary or out of the league in like 2 years. And we're like, remember that guy we kind of liked?
The fact that has he been kicked off of 2 teams or just the one?
Yes. USC transferred, Ole Miss kicked off.
Yeah, I mean,
dog.
See?
Dog.
See?
That's a checkbox if you get kicked off a team.
That's a good thing.
He's
a bad boy.
He doesn't take crap. He has no time for it.
I did find the official vertical. 27.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's with an injured hammy. I mean, if we extrapolate this.
Double it.
At least 40 inches.
If he had 2 functional hammies, we're talking 40+ inch vertical.
We need to update his profile on the site to include the correct number. We just make it up.
That's going to do it for this episode. Make sure you check out all of our rankings, fantasyfootballers.com. You can see everything that Mike has, all of his Michael Trigg love. And next week, we will be back talking rookie landing spots. We'll see you then.
Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Fantasy Footballers Dynasty Podcast. If you want to take your dynasty skills to the next level, check out thefantasyfootballers.com.